Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Madison. Today we're going back in time just a little bit, and I'm going to take you guys with us as we go shopping for our new home down here in Georgia. So back in December of last year, we found out that my husband had been accepted for a job promotion down here. So within a 1 month time span, we found out that we had to move down to Georgia, pack up and sell our old home, and then find something down here to buy and move into as well. So today I wanted to take you guys on that journey as we very quickly went house shopping in one weekend and basically called it quits for the next 2 years on this home. However, I will say, when I show you guys this house later on down the road, you will be mind blown that we were somehow, by the grace of God, able to get this house in the time frame that we did. So I'm gonna take you guys along as we go tour some houses down here in Georgia, and I hope you guys enjoy. Bye. Alright, so it is 10 o'clock at night. We are about an hour or so away from Atlanta. And we're about to stop and get cookout. And I haven't been to cookout since we lived in a college town. And I swear, if we didn't go at least 3 times a week or so on occasion, I think I'd be lying. We loved cookout. And I've not been in so long, and I cannot tell you how excited I am just to get cookout again. But also, we've been in the car for well over 5 hours now, and I think we deserve some kind of pick-me-up snack at this point. But we're in Georgia, we're going house shopping, so we'll see what happens tomorrow.
1 second, please.
Let me know when you're ready.
All right, thank you.
Oh, I'm so excited.
I know.
It smells so damn good.
Welcome to house number 1. This one was one we actually ended up stumbling upon. We were driving around checking out where his new work was going to be in relation to where we were looking at homes. And this one was actually in the neighborhood adjacent to where he works. And so while this house would have been great just for conveniency, it was honestly so incredibly pricey. This house was, I would say, 1.5 times the price of our old home. And it was smaller in square footage. Granted, we were moving to a bigger town than we were from if we were to live where we worked. So this house was a 3-bed, 2-bath down here in Georgia, and it was running for nearly $370,000. We didn't know that when we walked in. Our realtor just sent us over some open houses to come check out. This wasn't even on the list. It was just in the neighborhood where another one was. But because this one had been recently updated and painted and all that, they were able to charge much more, it seems. And especially with the way the market was going, it was just incredibly high competition. So you can pretty much charge whatever the heck you want, and more than likely you might get even over that asking price as well. The one thing though that I will say that was nice about this house was that there was some storage tucked away here and there. For the size, I do feel like it was pretty spacious. I want to say it was around 1,600 square feet. And so it was 3 beds, 2 baths, 3 beds, 2 baths. And there was pretty decent sized closets in all of the bedrooms. Right now we are in the 2nd bedroom, and the one prior to this was the primary bedroom. The one thing is we were trying to figure out where we would place like workout equipment and home offices and things like that, since both of us do tend to work from home on multiple days of the week sometimes. And so just trying to figure out spacing of things was kind of difficult. I would also say that for us, this house was not necessarily small, but it just didn't feel very spacious for the dogs to run around and play. And you'll see that too with the backyard. The backyard was extremely small in this house. And it really just truly felt like you were in a fishbowl, quite frankly. All the houses in the whole neighborhood pretty much lined up in a row. So you could probably have 5 to 6 different neighbors able to look into your yard at any given time. But I will say that previous owners did do a good job with decorating this house. Welcome to house number 2. This was what I'm going to call as the biggest fixer-upper I think that we toured in this whole weekend. And I will say this house felt absolutely massive. I don't even believe that this bedroom right here was the primary bedroom. It was just a secondary bedroom. And in addition to having 3 beds, they also had what they call a frog, which is actually what this is now that I think about it. It is an additional room over the garage. And so all in all, it was very spacious. It just needed so much more work than we were willing to put in at this time. Our previous home was very much a fixer-upper, needed a lot of paint, a lot of love, some new flooring here and there. But this one, quite frankly, might have needed some structural changes, which we're not really adept at fixing. Everywhere in the house, the floors were creaking. Most of the windows needed replaced because they were as old as the house were, being that it was nearly 40 years old. And honestly, the person that lived here prior kept decent care of it, but there was just something off-putting about the smell that this house had. Like, it just seemed like while it looked clean on the surface, that it probably wasn't clean deeper than that, if that makes sense. But if I could have transported the amount of storage and space that was in this house into some of the other houses that we toured, that would have been lovely. I also get bonus points to this house for how big the bathtub is. Granted, it doesn't look the cleanest in my opinion, but it was spacious. And granted, our old bathroom in our first home was probably even worse than this one, so I guess I can't say too much. But coming into one of the other guest bedrooms, the closet here was smaller than most, but I think this is one that we would have used as his office and or a small workout room if we had the chance to. And so that was pretty good for what it was. And then coming back down, we are going to head to the main level. The one thing I do appreciate in some of these older homes is that they still have dining rooms. As much as I love the open concept, I want open concept with definition, and a lot of modern homes nowadays don't even have that. It's just one giant room, and you can kind of make of it what you want. Whereas this house had somewhat of a dining room and a formal living room or family room, as you want to call it. This next house was by far one of our favorites. It's actually a new build, and so this one was a model home. I really did not think that we would be able to afford a new build, quite frankly, but with the way the market was going, it actually worked out in our favor because a lot of the new builds were for some reason having issues selling in that neighborhood. I think just because of the price point, and it wasn't necessarily in the town itself. This one was actually a little bit of a ways away from work. But having a brand new house with a warranty on it, so any of the little fixes that may need to happen just to it shifting and whatnot would have been taken care of. And knowing that for the most part, you shouldn't have to do too much to this house. I mean, yes, you're going to have to add some personality and interest to it over time, but you're not going to have probably any structural issues. Unless you just really hated the way it was designed, you shouldn't really have any design issues either. It's pretty much just a giant blank box with you to put whatever touches you want to on it. So between all of that and the fact that we were going to be living so far away from family, the new build started to become a little bit more realistic of an option, especially since this way we wouldn't be getting outbidded on everything else, because prior to coming down here to see houses in person, we had actually placed 2 bids on homes, but ended up losing out on those just due to someone putting in a higher bid price than us. And so as we come back out of the primary suite here, we'll go back out into the landing, which is more spacious than I feel like it needs to be, but it's really nice. There was a laundry room upstairs, so with all the bedrooms being upstairs, it's very nice to not have to cart around laundry for the most part. And there's also an additional bathroom from all the guest rooms to use as well. But for us, since it's just the 2 of us and our animals, really we only wanted to use these rooms for offices, a guest bedroom, and then hopefully a workout room here or there, depending on how it worked out. But with everything just being brand new in this house, there was truly just nothing to complain about, quite frankly. I could see so much potential in so many ways to add character. It was just exciting for me. But regardless, I'm going to show you guys all the nitty-gritty details of this house because we are filming this for not only you guys, but my family as well, since they couldn't join us on this house buying process. But coming back downstairs here in a minute, I'm going to show you guys the living room kitchen area. This is by far going to be one of the nicest kitchens in any of the houses we have ever toured. In our old home, we had these horrid tile countertops that we were hoping to get around to replacing, but we never quite did. Whereas this house has stone countertops. I mean, solid slab stone. I believe it was quartz. And so for someone like me that enjoys cooking and baking so much, it was just incredibly nice to have something you could actually work with and truly roll out dough on, make cookies on, whatever you wanted to, because it is solid stone. You can clean it. There's not any grout lines, anything like that. But I will also say with this house, it was very hard to tell the size concept of it based on the way they had their furniture, since it would be very much different than how we would have designed the house personally ourselves. And one day in a future home, I hope to not have this open concept living room dining thing, because I feel like to me it just feels very claustrophobic. Ironically, it just feels very cluttered in such a small space, but overall, it was amazing. It even had a garage and a flex room down here as well. Our old home, I would say, kind of had a garage, but not entirely, so this one would be the first time we could actually park both our cars in a protected space. Trust me, it's the little things in life that make a big difference, believe it or not. And having your car in a garage when it gets really cold back in Kentucky would have been really nice. Okay, so this is house number 4. It was another one of the new builds in the same little neighborhood. This one was a little bit of a different concept than the other, but it was a little bit more pricey, unfortunately. So just by price alone, we were automatically leaning towards the other house. This one had, I think, 4 bedrooms upstairs, 1 being the primary, and then 3 guest bedrooms. And then they also had a flex space, as they're calling it. Really, it's just an open area that they said people often use as a living room and or little kids play area. I would also say that the primary bedroom in this house that we're currently in right now was just structured very odd. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but having like your toilets on the very outside of the house and that all the windows are where the toilets happen to be, it's just weird to me. Like if it was dark and you had the light on in the bathroom, I would surely hope you have some light dampening or blackout curtains, because otherwise they could see you doing all your business in your house. But anyways, here is another one of the guest bedrooms. This one was one of the smaller ones yet again, and I would have used it as an office. People often use it as a nursery, as we were told. There was laundry room upstairs on this floor again, a nice guest bathroom that you can't really see because it's dark, another guest bedroom, as you're seeing here. Maybe it's just me as well, but sometimes the way people have rooms laid out, it makes it very awkward for me to design where I would want furniture and such. But all in all, I can't complain. This was a beautiful house. It's bigger than anything we could have ever needed, and I truly never thought we would probably own a brand new home in our lifetime, especially anywhere close to where we are right now. Like, we're just young in our 20s. And so for us to afford a home like this and be in a position to have a home like this is just mind-boggling. And truly, I think the only reason we could ever afford anything like this is because we're willing to live so much farther away from the city and away from work and everything else. So this is very much a smaller town compared to like Atlanta Metro and some of the surrounding areas as well. And I will also say, when we go back downstairs on this house, one of the things that I did like was that you kind of had a little bit more spacing or definition of areas. So as we come down the stairs, I probably would have put our living room situation right here on the right-hand side and then tucked a dining room setup over here on the left before you pan back on over to the kitchen. 'Cause that necessarily was just probably going to be like counter stool or bar stools underneath the counter and the kitchen itself. I will also say the one thing we didn't like about this house too was the fact that the yard was super duper small. And for us, obviously having 2 golden retrievers, we want enough space for them to be able to run around and play. There were several other houses that we checked out briefly from the road, but just based off the surrounding areas that you couldn't tell from Google Maps or anything like that, we decided it just wasn't going to be right for us. And so we never even bothered to go in to check the houses out, even though some of them did look beautiful. It's just being in a good area for us is very important, and having a decent amount of land, just enough for the dogs to run around and hopefully for me to have a garden, was important. So these are the only 4 houses that we actually physically toured inside of, at least on this trip anyways. And so I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll show you guys eventually here soon which house we ended up getting. Bye guys, thanks for watching.